Y'all, I had 1 week to empty my mom's entire house after my stepdad passed away. 100 bags of stuff, 40 bags of documents to shred, all the furniture that wouldn't fit in her new place, and I had to coordinate an actual move to a 1-bedroom apartment with no garage. Oh, and she'd just broken both ankles, so she sat there in a wheelchair, watching me and my sister make every single decision about her life. Nobody wants that. 7 days, that's what "I'll deal with it later" turned into. And that was just my mom. With my dad, it was a different circumstance, but the same core problem. No plan, no conversations, and the things that I lost forever and I'll never get back. So I wrote this letter not to make anyone feel guilty, not to push you to move tomorrow, but to help you understand what waiting will cost you, what it will cost those that love you. If you're a baby boomer watching this, give me 10 minutes of your time. And if you're an adult child who's been through this or worried that you might have to, share this with your parents. These are tough conversations, but let's talk about what really happens. Quick sidebar, if you're actually navigating a downsizing transition right now, whether you're the parent or the adult child trying to help, grab a free 30-minute transition strategy call on my calendar. It's in the caption below. We'll identify which phase you're in, map out how to maintain dignity and reduce complexity, and figure out the best path forward, whether that involves the real estate now, 6 months from now, or something completely different. Zero pressure, link below. Now, here's the letter. Dear baby boomers, I know you don't want to downsize. I know you love your home. I know every room holds memories, your kids' bedrooms, the kitchen where you hosted Thanksgivings, the garage where you fixed things, the yard that you spent weekends working in. I get it. This isn't easy, but I need to tell you what happens when you wait too long, because I've lived it twice, and I don't want your kids to go through what I went through. My mom's story, it happened fast. 1 week after my stepdad passed away unexpectedly, she fell and she broke both ankles. We had 7 days until her next rent payment was due. They had no business being in that particular home at that time, and it was immediately obvious that she couldn't afford to stay in that house alone. So my sister and I, we flew in. We had 1 week to pack up a 3-bedroom house, coordinate a move to a 1-bedroom apartment with no storage, and do it all while she sat in a wheelchair watching us decide what stayed and what went, because time was taken away from us. 100 bags of stuff went to the dumpster or Goodwill. 40 bags of documents had to be shredded. Furniture that she had for decades, gone. The bed from the guest room, it could not fit. The dining table where we'd eaten meals for years, too big. Her husband's tools, his workshop, his things, we had to make those calls in minutes, not days. She wasn't a hoarder by any stretch of the imagination. It was just stuff. Normal stuff that accumulates when you live somewhere long enough and never think about what happens if you suddenly couldn't stay there any longer or somebody passes away. 100 bags, 3 bedrooms down to 1, 7 days, while she watched. That's what waiting looks like. Here's what my mom lost that week: the ability to choose. She would have kept different things. She would have given certain items to specific people. She would have taken more time with the photos, the letters, the meaningful stuff. But we didn't have time, and certainly the emotional state wasn't ideal by any stretch of the imagination. The rent was coming due, and the lease was too expensive to maintain, and she physically could not participate. Every single decision that we made with love, with respect, with the absolute best of intentions, but they were our decisions as adult children, not hers. And I know that hurt her, even though she never said it out loud. That's the cost of waiting. Not just money, not just stress. It's dignity, it's control. It's the difference between I choose this and this happened to me. Now, let me tell you about my dad, because that cost me something different. There are things from my dad's house that I will never get back. Not because they were thrown away, but because we never talked about what mattered. My dad passed away, and because of family dynamics and circumstances that I won't get into here, I didn't get to be a part of handling his things. I wanted certain items, not because they were valuable, but because they were pieces of my childhood. Pieces of him, pieces of the life that we shared. But there were no conversations beforehand. No written wishes. No, hey, if something happens to me, here's what I want you to have. Just silence. And then it was too late. There's a hole in my heart where those items should be. Not a big dramatic hole. I don't want to over dramatize this. Life goes on, but it's there. And it didn't have to be. If he'd just talked to us, if he'd just written things down, if he'd just labeled a few things or had one conversation about what mattered to him and what he wanted. But he didn't, and now I live with that. So baby boomers, this is what I'm asking of you. And I'm asking with respect, with empathy, and with full understanding that this is hard, and that if you downsize and moved into a smaller house, you're probably not getting as much value for the home as what you currently have, just because of the world that we live in today. But I'm not asking you to move tomorrow. I'm not asking you to sell your house. I'm not saying your house is too big or too much work or that you should do anything. What I am asking though is this: take proactive steps today so that you can make the choices, not your kids, not the crisis, not the circumstances. You get to make the choices. And here's what proactive looks like. Start decluttering now. Not everything, just start. One closet, one drawer, one shelf. Get rid of the stuff that you don't actually need or want so that when, not if, the time comes, there's less to deal with. My mom, she had 3 bedrooms full of stuff. If she'd spent the last 5 years getting just rid of 10% a year, we would have had 50 bags less of that 100 that I took out to the dumpster. That's 50 decisions we wouldn't have had to make in 7 days while she's there watching, halfway emotionally present, halfway not. Label things that matter. Heirlooms, photos, items with stories. Put a piece of tape on the back that says, "This was Grandma's. I want Sarah to have it." That's it. That one step would have saved me heartbreak with my dad's stuff. Have the conversation, and these are hard. Tell your kids what you actually want. Not the house stuff, the bigger stuff. Where do you want to live when stairs become hard? What are you afraid of? What would make you feel safe? What do you want them to know about your wishes? My mom and I never had that conversation before her husband died. And if we had, maybe we could have had a plan ready. Maybe she wouldn't have felt so helpless in that wheelchair. Maybe we could have honored her choices instead of making ours. Write it down. It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be legal. Just a simple document that says, here's what matters to me. Here's what I want. Here are the people I trust to help me when the time comes. My dad left nothing, 0 documentation, no conversation, and now I live with the consequences of that silence. I know that some of you are thinking right now, but I'm not ready. I'm just fine. I'm healthy. I have time. My situation, it's different. Maybe you're right. Maybe you have years before any of this matters. But my mom's husband went from healthy to gone in weeks. The broken ankles happened 1 week later. We went from she's fine to we have 7 days in the span of a few weeks. You don't always get the timeline that you think that you're going to get. If you love your house and can afford it and it makes you happy, stay there. And here's the thing that nobody wants to say out loud, but I'm going to say it anyway. Even if you're healthy now, even if you have years left, why would you want to go through that? Why would you want to go put yourself through what my mom saw? Why would you want to put your kids through that experience? Why would you want them to stand in your house making guesses about what you would have wanted? Why would you want them to feel guilty throwing away things that might have mattered to you, but they didn't know? Why would you want them to sit at night wondering if they honored your life correctly, if they made the right calls, if they would have been proud of the decisions they made under pressure? Because that's what we do as kids, as adult children. We lie awake wondering if we got it right. wondering if we hurt you, wondering if we could have done it better, if we had just had more time or more information or more guidance from you. You can spare your kids that right now, today, by taking a few simple steps. And let me be clear about something. This isn't about you moving into a smaller house to save money. This isn't about downsizing to a place that costs less but gives you less value or quality of life. If you love your house and can afford it and it makes you happy, stay there. Live there for another 20 years. Enjoy every single minute. But while you're there, make it easier on everyone. Most importantly, yourself. Declutter, label things, have conversations, write down your wishes. Build relationships with your kids where they feel comfortable asking you the hard questions and you feel comfortable answering them. That's all I'm asking. That's what I'm asking. Because the goal isn't to uproot your life. The goal is to reduce complexity, create a safer environment as you age, make your life easier, and help you enjoy these years more. Not by moving, but by letting go of the burden of all the stuff that you're carrying around. And if the time comes when you need to downsize, whether it's next year or 10 years from now, you'll do it on your own terms, with your choices, with your dignity intact. Not in 7 days while sitting in a wheelchair, watching your kids and strangers pack up your life. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to love you enough to tell the truth. The truth is, waiting costs you. The truth is, your kids will honor you better if you tell them how. The truth is, the conversations you avoid today become the regrets that they carry tomorrow. So start small. One conversation, one labeled item, one bag of stuff you don't actually need. Just start. Because I don't want your kids to write a letter like this 10 years from now. I don't want them to sit there at their computer trying to help other families avoid what they went through with you. I want you to be the baby boomer who had the courage to face this head on, who loved their family enough to make it easier, who chose dignity over denial, proactive planning to make things better. You deserve that. Your kids deserve that. Start today with respect and empathy. Someone who's been there twice and doesn't want you to put your kids through it. That's what I wish I could have told my parents before both situations happened. Now, here's what you need to know. I'm not just someone who went through this. I'm a transition strategist. I'm a project management professional and a certified financial coach, and I've walked hundreds of families through major transitions, including downsizing. If you want to create a proactive plan, whether you're a baby boomer who's ready to start taking next steps or an adult child who needs to help navigate this conversation with your parents, I can help. My mom also wrote 2 different letters, one to me and adult children like me, explaining why this is so hard from a parent's perspective and asking for empathy, and one to her fellow baby boomers about what she learned watching me and my sister go through this with her. I'm going to share that in a few other videos. So if you're a baby boomer and you need to hear her side of the story, if you're an adult child and you need to understand what your parents are actually feeling, those videos are linked in the description. Watch them next. If you're facing a downsizing transition and trying to figure out the right path forward, I recommend booking a transition strategy call with me using the link below. And here's what you can expect. First, we're going to identify which phase that you're in and then what your actual timeline looks like. Not the fantasy timeline, but the real one with all of the variables. Second, we're going to map out how to maintain dignity and reduce complexity by coordinating with your family, your CPA, your attorney. This is the phase most people skip, and it costs them control and peace of mind. And third, we're going to figure out if real estate makes sense right now, and if so, exactly how to execute on your terms. If you're not in Colorado Springs, I'll connect you with a trusted professional in your market through my nationwide network. It's what we do every single day. Again, it's a free 30-minute strategic clarity session, and you're going to walk away with a clearer path forward, whether you decide to move now, wait 6 months, or take a completely different approach. It's a no-risk call. We have a conversation, figure out a path forward. I'm Weldon Hobbs, transition strategist, project management professional, certified financial coach, and real estate professional, and I serve folks like you every single day across this country. If this was helpful, hit that subscribe button. I post 2 to 3 times a week on navigating life transitions, optimizing those wealth outcomes, and executing real estate strategy that works. Thanks for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.